Do you know what is the irrational fear of swans called? Or what continents they live in? No? Well, check out these top 20 fun facts about swans. The swans are the largest members of the waterfowl family, Anatidae, within the genus, Cygnus, and are among the largest flying birds. The largest species can reach a length of over 1.5 meters and weigh over 15 kilograms. Their wingspans can be over 3.1 meters. Swans live for approximately 20 to 30 years. The black swans of Australia and New Zealand, which have been introduced to North America and Europe, can live for up to 40 years in the wild. The swans are generally found in temperate environments, rarely occurring in the tropics. Swans live in the following habitats: flooded grassland, lakes and ponds, rivers and streams, and wetlands. Swans are herbivores. Swans feed primarily on aquatic vegetation, with their long necks allowing them to feed on plants growing on riverbeds. They also eat small creatures, such as mollusks that cling to the vegetation, and small fish, frogs and worms. The swan is found on both sides of the equator, across the northern and southern hemispheres. The northern swan is generally white in color with an orange beak, and the southern swan tends to be a mixture of white and black in color with red, orange or black beaks. Their calls consist of a loud, deep, sonorous, trumpet-like honking sounds, as well as peeps, hisses and gurgles. Several species are migratory, or partly migratory, while some populations are resident. Swans usually mate for life, though divorce does sometimes occur, particularly following nesting failure, and if a mate dies, the remaining swan will take up with another. During the breeding season, pairs will however aggressively defend their territories. A male swan is called a cob, and a female swan is called a pen. A baby swan is called a cygnet. Swans build their nests on land out of twigs and leaves, and the female swan lays between 3 and 9 eggs. The baby swans hatch out of their eggs after an incubation of just over a month. Before European explorers had reached Australia, it was believed that all swans were white. Dutch mariner Antoine Kahn was the first to be amazed at the sight of Australia's black swans on the Shark Bay in 1636. The phrase swan song, the phrase refers to an ancient belief that swans sing a beautiful song in the moment just before death, having been silent, or alternatively, not so musical, during most of their lifetime. The swan has over 25,000 feathers in its body. Swans fly in a V-shaped formation when flying in groups. A group of swans is called a bevy, or a wedge in flight. A group of wild swans is known as a herd. However, a group in captivity are called a fleet. Cygniophobia, or chycnophobia, is the fear of swans. After swans scare off other birds, they flap their wings and call to each other in celebration, sort of like a swan high five. There are no swans living in Africa or Antarctica. In England, the Queen owns all mute swans. Every year, the swans on the Thames River are rounded up. Their beaks are marked with the Queen's brand. The Queen sometimes gives swans as a special gift. Cygnus, the Latin word for swan, is a brightly visible constellation, also known as the Northern Cross. In Greek mythology, the constellation represents Orpheus, who was transformed into a swan, after death, next to his lyre, in the constellation Lyra. Swans are highly intelligent, and remember who has been kind to them, or not. Swans begin breeding between the ages of 3 to 4. Swan eggs take between 35 and 42 days to hatch. Thank you for watching this video on Learn with Sam. If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe for more educational videos.